As we talk about adding integers, we are going to want to think of the numbers themselves actually representing direction and distance on a number line. So -3 here actually it's here on the number line, but we want to think about the direction of going from 0 to that ending point. And in many ways, we want to think about that arrow or a vector as representing the number -3. And so -3 plus 7, we could kind of go from 0 to -3, and then from there, we would add 7, which adding 7 looks like going 7 places to the right of where we are. And we would end up at 4. So -3 plus 7 is equal to 4. Another way to do this is if we just kind of start at the number -3 and then move 7 to the right and end up at 4. So we can actually represent that first number as a movement from 0 or not. And that's kind of a personal preference, but we'll see later on when we do multiplication. In terms of multiplication, it's really important to actually have that first jump from 0. And we'll see that in the next worksheet. So -3 plus 7 is 4 in both cases. And I want to just re-emphasize here, when I have that -3, that is counting 3 spaces, not tick marks. It's counting 3 spaces in the negative direction towards the left. And again, when I go and count the plus 7, I'm going plus 7 spaces. Okay, same thing here. Starting at -3, I move 7 spaces to the right. We want to kind of think about the number line as being very close to like a ruler that is measuring distances between 2 points. All right. So based on this picture, both pictures, -3 plus 7 equals 4. And now we're going to do 7 plus -3 in the same 2 ways. One where we start from 0 to go adding 7. So that's plus 7. And then we would subtract 3. And I'm going to go under the number line for that so that they don't compete. So add -3. I said subtract 3. We'll see that it's the same as adding -3. But yeah, it's plus -3. And or we can actually just start at 7 and hop 3 units to the left. And that's adding a -3. And again, I'm really thinking about that plus a -3 is the same no matter where I start. So if I want to go here and add a -3, or here and add -3, any of those, that could be done. Okay. And it looks, again, so let me label this. It looks in both cases like we are, again, landing on 4. So based on this picture, -7 plus -3 is also 4. And from these pictures from this example, we can see that 7 plus -3 is the same as -3 plus 7. And any one of these 4 number lines would be actually a fine picture of the operation 7 plus -3, or of -3 plus 7. So here's a question. Do you think that this is going to be true for any numbers that you want to add, that if you add them in a different order, you're still going to get the same result? Think about that and see if you can write something down that indicates your thought process. Now, I hope you've come up with some sort of reasoning for why you think that it would be true. And in fact, it is true. And this property is something that we called commutativity. So addition of real numbers is commutative, which means that if I add two real numbers, it's the same in both orders. So the one that we saw above is -3 plus 7 is the same as 7 plus -3. Okay. One example that I sometimes think of with positive negative numbers is money. And so you might think of your bank account and the transactions on your bank account. And you might have some payments that went out that subtracts money from your bank account. And you might have some deposits that went in that adds money to your bank account. And at the end, at the end of the month, it doesn't really matter which order the different transactions came in. You can sort of say, at the end of the month, I had a total of this many deposits and a total of this many payments out. So a total of this many additions and this many subtractions. And it doesn't matter if you add one or subtract one first. Of course, if you subtract enough to go into the negative before you actually deposited stuff, then that makes a difference in your bank account. But overall, the net result is not going to be changed as long as it doesn't incur extra fees. Okay. So we're going to make some number line pictures for each of the following numbers. So if I have a -7 plus -9, so think about this. -7, if you kind of think in your head, this is going to be a jump in that direction. And a -9 is also going to be a jump in that direction. So when I add these two together, I should be going more negative. So I'm actually going to put my 0 over to the right a little bit more because I know that I'm going to go 7 in the negative direction and then I'm going to go another 9 in the negative direction. So I'm going to go ahead and label my axes as I normally do with 5s. And even though we're only going negative, I'm just going to do a couple of these for good measure. So I'm going to first do the -7. And then I'm going to do the -9, which is going to put me at a total of -16. So that is -16. So in this case, we're going to have two competing directions. So -28 is going to go to the left or to the negative side, and 12 is going to go to the right. So plus +12 and -28. And if you think ahead on this, you can say, I'm going in the negative direction more than I am going in the positive direction. So I am actually going to put 0 over here. Let's see. It looks like from here, it looks like I have more. I have more than 28. So I'm just going to put a 0 here, say. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm just, instead of doing both arrows, I'm just going to start at -28 in this case. and I'm going to move ahead 12. So I'm going to do this by smaller jumps. If I go to the same relative place in my little group of 5, then that's 5, 10, 12. So this is plus 12. And that just helps me to see more easily, so I don't actually have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and I ended up at negative 16 again. So negative 28 plus 12 equals negative 16. Same answer as last time. Negative 7 plus negative 9 equals negative 16 also. Okay, 233 plus negative 10. Oh my gosh, what? Well, I clearly do not have 233 spaces on here. But I can say, like, in this particular example up here, I didn't necessarily need to have that 0, okay? I decided to not draw that arc from 0 to negative 28 in this case. So I think I'm just going to do that here. So 233 is going to be way out to the right. And then negative 10 is going to go a little bit to the left. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to do 230, 235, and 225, 220, 215. Okay, so this is a little snippet of the number line around 233. And it gives me enough to move 10 paces to the left of 233. So here is, I'm going to use a different color this time. 233 is there. And if I subtract 10, well, I can use the same trick as last time. Here's minus 5. Sorry, I'm saying subtract 10, but I'm adding a negative 10, which is really, you can see it's the same. So I am adding negative 10. And we end up at 223. So we get 233 plus negative 10 is 223. I want you to kind of notice that we also could have started at negative 10 and added 233 to the right. And in this particular case, that would have been quite a bit harder. In the previous one, because I do actually have more than 28 spaces on here, I could have also started at positive 12 and subtracted, moved 28 spaces to the left of 12 in that way, in order to add a negative 28. Now this one, let's see. I'm going to go to the right 4 units. I'm going to go to the left 3 units. I'm going to go to the left 10 units. And I'm going to go to the right 12 units. So I think it looks like I'm maybe going to be going about the same amount in the left and the right. So I'm going to just kind of put my 0 in the middle in this case. And I'm going to go ahead and label it as usual. So I'm going to start by going 4 to the right. Here, how about if I color code these? That way. Oh. Okay. So 4 units to the right is going to be like this. That's adding 4. And then I'm going to go 3 units to the left, like that. So we're at positive 1 now. And then I'm going to go 10 units in the negative direction. So let's see, here's 5, 10 units in the negative direction. And then what color am I going to choose? I guess I'll go black. 12 units to the right. So 5, 10, 12. So it looks like we landed on the number 3. What am I doing here? Oh. Looks like 4 plus negative 3 plus negative 10 plus 12 equals 3. And since since addition is commutative, you notice we can also kind of gather the positive numbers and the negative numbers together. That's another way that a lot of times some people like to do it, is we could say we do the 4 plus 12, those are the two positive numbers, and we do the two negative numbers, negative 3 and negative 10. So 4 plus 12 is 16. And here we're going in the negative direction, a total of 13 units. And that will give us not negative 3, 3. Okay. 13 plus 0 is, so I'm going to go ahead and start at 13. And starting from 13, in order to add 0, 0 does not have any positive or negative direction. It's the one number that doesn't have a sign. It is unsigned. And so it has no movement. So plus 0 is like kind of jumping up and down on that spot. So 13 plus 0 is 13. Okay, we'll do subtraction in the next video.